All right, when you are considering doing 3D modeling for 3D printing, it's pretty imperative that you actually understand unit setup. Now, every piece of software I imagine is going to be slightly different for this, but they're probably all going to be pretty similar. In 3ds Max, you need to go to the Customize Unit Setup. Before you do any modeling, you want to go in here, click on System Unit Setup, and make sure, at least for me, I'm working with the Elegoo Mars 2, and basically the software that it comes with, Chitubox, I'm not sure, is functioning, working in millimeters. So I make sure 3ds Max is also in the background. Its system unit is also set to millimeters. The accuracy should be plenty good for anything we need to do for 3D printing. So I'm going to hit OK, and here I'm also going to set this to metric, but display unit really means nothing. Display unit really is just the actual visual unit that is shown inside 3ds Max's interface, not really how it's working in the background and how it's thinking about things. The system unit is how it thinks about it. The display unit is how it shows it to you. So I'm going to set this to metric because I'm going to want to work in something that I know exactly what it should show up as in my slicing software. So I'm going to hit OK there. My system unit and my display unit are both set to millimeters. Now I'm going to make a box because I don't really need, I'm going to go to keyboard entry here, and I'm just going to make the length, width, and the height all 10 millimeters. Then when I hit create, I have a 10 millimeter box in the exact center of my world because it made it at 0, 0, 0 on X, Y, and Z. So if I hit my zoom extents all over here, it zooms in. I know this box is exactly 10 millimeters on each side. So I'm going to go File, and I'm going to export this object as, let's just go here to my print test folder, and then let's just call this STL. I'm going to just make a new one. So we'll just overwrite the original 10 millimeter box. I'm going to hit save. Yes, I want to replace it. Here, depending on what you're exporting, if you have a multi-part model, at least for me, if I have a multi-part model, I can just uncheck selected only, and it'll export all the stuff in the scene as whatever. All right, so object 1's fine, it doesn't really matter. Or I can name it test box, it's fine. All right, so selected only is fine. It is the only object, and it is selected. If I have that checked and my object isn't actually selected when I go to export, it's not going to do anything. So I hit OK, and I now have an STL that I can open. So let's minimize that. And I'm going to open the slicing software. Now it automatically here just opens up the last object that I had. So let's just go new, and I'm going to open that 10 millimeter box. So now when I click on it and I look at scale, it shows me it's exactly 10 millimeters. I don't need to print it to measure it. If my slicing software knows that at 100% the object is 10 millimeters, everything should be good. And for me, this works, so I know it's right. I don't have to second guess it. I know it's correct. All right, so we'll quit that. I can go back to 3ds Max, and here, right, I actually need to save this. I have another copy already. So again, just exporting this STL to check it. I know it works, so I can move on, knowing that when I set up my units in the background, so just once again, my unit setup is set to millimeters, so that the slicing software reads everything I'm doing the same way. And it's easier here to work in millimeters because a lot of the stuff, as I've taken measurements, my ruler has just got more accurate units for millimeters. So I've got a lot of measurements in millimeters, so it's easier to just work with that. A couple of things like the magnets that I've ordered, like this is a representation of one of my magnets. You can see here it's named Magnet Ref, and it's a 3/8 by 1/16 inch magnet. Here I can actually type in the units in inches if I want to. So let's see, the height is 1/16, so I can actually type in the fraction, and I have to put on the inch mark. But if I put on the inch mark and hit enter, it will convert it to millimeters for me. So that is helpful if I do have a couple of things like magnets as reference. I can actually still type in the units in inches, and Max will convert it to millimeters for me. All right, so that is really the big part of setting up 3D software for use in 3D printing. You have to make sure your units match. Otherwise, when you're going and bringing your models into your 3D software, you're always going to be trying to scale things. And then there's test prints, too many test prints, and wasted prints to get things to actually print at the correct size. So if you just set everything up to work together to begin with, you will save yourself a lot of time.